what's up YouTube? This your boy Obey who say what's up Record Layer Production. Back at you again with another part of the tutorial, the multi-series, the SSL console in your DAW. So now part 2 is about what is the benefits and what is the downfalls. So we're going to get into the benefits first. Alright, the benefit is when you're routing it through plugins like that's SSL model after the circuitry that they use in some kind of way, when they talk about the glue, it do that. It's like it know all the tracks gotta go together or something. And then when they go together, they just come together right. And then the other part that's great about it is from going from this compressor to another one of these compressors work well. Like so, say if I use the compressor on this track, so you can see, you notice I got the EQ and the compressors off on each one of them. So I'm treating it just like the desk if I was at the desk. So I wouldn't have everything on. It will be cut on for when needed. And that's how you normally work. So another thing is, don't just go in and start EQing. Like I say, this is the SSL console concept. So in that concept, the thought process is, first of all, tracking good recordings. That's the first part. The first part of the track, the good recordings, that's what you want to get. You want to get good trackings, good takes, whatever you want to call it, whatever way you're doing your method. So if you're thinking of going this route, you got to be thinking of that. So thinking of that, you got good takes. So when you got your good takes, second, what you want to know is, all right, you got all your good takes, you got all your good takes put together. They make your beat. They all these different tracks that we have right here. They all your good takes. And they all sounded good in their own right, in the way that you like them, in the way that you wanted to hear them. And then when they get all together, some of them starting to get in the way of the others. Some of them feel bigger than the other ones, and some you thought you wanted it to be there, but then now you don't want it to be there as far as in the loud factor of your beat, and you want to go change them things around. That's what you're going to get into after you tracked it, what you got that you can mix. So, but what we don't want to do is, if we track great recordings, right? Remember, because I'm calling these recordings what I got in here, my tracks, because I liked the sound that they had when they came out. If you can understand that, what I mean. The sound that they had when they came out, they would inspire me to make this beat. Every sound in here, the way it came out, that I got it on here, is the way it inspired me to make this beat. So first thing I don't want to do is alter or change the sound. So the first way to not do that is don't go in and start fixing stuff that don't need to be fixed. Don't go in and just say, I'm an EQ every track and I'm a high pass and low pass all over the place. I ain't ready to do none of that, because all I'm worrying about is getting this beat to sound good, and then worrying about vocals fitting in the beat. That's it. That's all I'm worrying about. So the sound that's building up when I was building these tracks is the sound that I wanted. That's the sound I want to hear. So what you want to go in and do is only fix the things that need fixing. Things that you hear that sound like they need to be turned up. Things that you hear that sound like they need to be turned down. Things that need to be cut. You know what I mean? So things, timings that need to be fixed, and all kind of things of that nature. So, but the timing issue shouldn't be a problem at this point, because remember, we passed that point. We tracked it. We got great recordings. So that's the key feature to this. And once you got the great recordings and they going through, like I say, this signal chain, and what I basically have going is each track, kick and snares going to a sub. Let me make sure both of my kicks going to the sub. Okay. This one ain't going to the right thing. That's why you gotta go check. Alright. Both of them going in. Alright, so basically here go my subs down here, and I'm gonna show you. So I got kick and snare sub. I got a other percussion sub, or the other percussion, and I got SIF sub, and I got a bass sub, and then they all output into my master fader, and these are my sums, and then I'm sending my sums to the master fader. And then, like, if you was on a console, you will have your aux faders, that's going to be separate. And then you'll have your bus faders, that's going to be separate. Right? And it'll be 4 of these, so they had 2 stereo channels, but because our faders, we got stereo channels, so it's going to be 1 fader with both of them. So we're going to have our 2 bus right here. So that's one of the big benefits right there that you're going to have with the SSL setup. You're going to have with all the good part of the SSL with the sound quality. You got the EQ, compressor, and gate. With all that being said, you also got the option of setting up your buses, setting up your 2 buses, running through the same signal flow. And then what normally happen at the 2 bus is you gonna smash everything. That's when you're doing the major compression, you're doing the extra compression that you wanted to do that you know you couldn't do on your track, or you would smash the life out of the sound and you can't turn it up. But this is your blend back track of your raw mix and making it work right. So then you got, like I say, your master fader. That's gonna be set to where you want it to be set to. Where I got it is -3 dB, and I'm gonna let this breathe. But before I get to doing anything, we gonna set this that make sure it's peaking out at -3, no more than -3 dB before we do anything. We're gonna make sure it's not peaking out past there before we do anything. And then you got your aux fader, like I'm saying. Same thing. Both of these is down at -18 dB, the aux and the 2 bus, and they all outputting to separate outputs on the 6i6. So as of now, my master fader is going to be coming out of here, out of the vocals out, which is the default output too. This is my 2 bus. This is my aux return. So this is going to be my aux fader and my 2 bus fader. And I'm basically going to control that. And then the great thing about the 6i6 is this, is I get to be able to mute or solo just my buses, my auxes, or whatever to the outputs that I got. I love that part right there. But if you don't have that, this is how you achieve it. If you just want to hear your auxes and your bus, because you can't just do it, because remember, we using our buses. How we doing this, we created a send at our sub point. That's the easiest way to do it, so you won't have to slap sends all over all your tracks all over the place, and you won't have to slap them all over the place. This is how you do it, so you don't have to put sends. See, I have no sends over tracks. I don't need the sends over the track. And then another thing, because I'm doing it SSL style, so I got the simple setup for my auxes. My auxes only gonna have, I ain't got no plugins on it yet, but I'm only gonna have a left and right delay and a left and right reverb. That's gonna be the only effect coming on my aux. And like I say, how I'm doing it, this my subs. So basically, just remember this point, it's still a signal chain. You're using your mind at this point conquering matter. This real quick, because it's a matter right here that this is a big matter that's in the way. That's gonna make you use up a lot of CPU, slapping all these sands all over all these tracks, right? All these tracks, and then why would I need to do that, right? If this is the end of the track, I put a send here, right? And I'm sending all these tracks to these subs. So to substitute that problem, all you do, slap a send at the beginning of your sub track, right? Because that will be the end of these tracks because they coming through the signal chain. So before they get in, same method. Before they go into the sub, the signal is coming raw to go into your bus and your aux. Okay, but then the great thing is, at this point, you still will have the option of going before or after. You can go after, you want to be after the sub, you can grab it and move it and go after the sub. All right, another big issue right here. This issue right here is, I hope you watch the whole video to catch this part, because this the sweet part of the movie that's at the end, right? That you miss this part, you're going to miss everything. On your master fader, everything coming here. Now, if you ever want to, how I'm working it, I don't want to put no limiter on here. So if you want to use limiters, put your limiters on your track, on your tracks. All right? Put your limiters on your subs if you want to use limiters in this method. In this method, I use no limiter in this method. What I'll do is sum my tracks back in with the recording from my 6x6. Now you see over here, I record these tracks back in. That's what I do. That's how I do it. I record this back in. So once I record this back in into the DAW, then I put my limit on it. So like I say, you see, all I'm going to do, I'm going to watch my peaks in this edit. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch my peaks. So, and I can go into a little red because I'm recording back out into with the analog. So I can take a little red in the signal chain. And basically, always remember this part. You can't put the limiter, because once you put the limiter on the master fader, remember all these tracks is running into the master fader. Once you put a limiter on there, it's going to create a delay. That little millisecond of delay is going to throw your 2-bus off and your aux off. Your aux and your 2-bus are going to be off. And I'm going to give you a demonstration of it right now. I'm going to show you. Like as of right now, you're not getting no sound from my 2-bus. So I'm gonna turn my 2-bus on, because this right here, this fader, is turned down. Once this turned down, you still see it, but you ain't hearing nothing. So I'm gonna turn this on right here. I'm gonna turn that off, and it's gonna turn this on, so the signal is coming through now. When that's off, this on. So be great. I'm gonna turn the 2-bus and watch the delay. Alright, so I know y'all get the picture. So you see what I'm saying? You can't, only way you can do it, right? you will have to put your sends after the limiter, right? And if you doing that, this is my concept of it. I mean, you can do it if you want. I got a way of doing it. What I would do is put my limiter, and what it's going to do is, though, it's saying you want to aux after your sub, though. That's what you compensating. You giving up that point. If you want to put limiters in, you got to put them on the subs, and then you also saying you got to compensate in your 2-bus and your aux, and knowing that you're going to use way less compression and all them things due to the fact that you already are coming through your subs where you know you're going to probably do some compressing and some EQing and everything. So just take accounting for that factor, because you're going to have to put these behind your limiter or compressor. Limiter or compressor. If you put a compressor here, it's going to bring delay. Well, if it's a high-end compressor. I mean, they got some low latency compressors that you can put on it. So you need to work in that factor and see which compressors you can fit. They even got some clippers that ain't gonna stop. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna stop it. That ain't gonna delay. I doubt you're gonna find too many limiters like that, but I know they're gonna have some. But your best bet is, like I say, just do away with the limiter in your mix. Leave away with the limiter. No, I'm not saying leave away with your limiter in your mix, because, like I told you, you can see right here what I did to get my drums the way I wanted them. I used the limiter. That was the recorded. Like I say, my tracking is key. Tracking. And when I record it as if I'm using an SSLC. You can see this in the drum core. I use 6 dB a gain on the limiter to get these drums. So remember, it's tracking a great recording. If you recorded a great live band, right? If you recorded them and everybody was going, yay, 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 crazy, and they loved it, right? I doubt it's that much you really gonna need to change or fix. You know what I mean? It's not that much you really gonna need to change or fix. Of course, you definitely can make it sound better, but you don't want to take away from the sound that everybody remember. You don't want people to come back here and say, man, it ain't sound like that night, right? So, like I say, this is part 2 to the tutorial on the SSL console, and I basically broke down the ups. And, oh, no, I didn't tell you the down. So, then the downside we're going to be, basically, is this. See that? CPU heavy. That's what your downside going to be. Other than that, I don't know no other downside. That's the only downside I have for you, man. And no, that's still a CPU problem, because, like I say, I was going to say you're going to be limited with EQ the tracks with this method if you planning on not really putting too many other EQs and stuff behind them. But I'm just saying, 9 times out of 10 you're going to do it. So what I would say is, to this method, is this. I would keep this plug when you want to run this method and you want it to keep going throughout your whole mix. My method is this. Anything you want to put on the track with this plugin, right? With the plugins. If you have a CPU problem with the plugin, what I would do is render the track. And if you want to still just keep your SSL, render the track just without the SSL. So just turn this off and say you had EQ compressors or whatever else, saturations and whatever else going behind this plugin. Leave them on, render the track, sit this back on the track, and then you'll still just have your SSL. I mean, I don't know if you want to do it that way, but that's how I would do it if I wanted to say CPU, and I wanted to still control the SSL signal sound in the edit too. So I put this back on the track. Like I say, I turn it off and record it. But that's it, man, for part 2, man. Like I say, the only downfall is every SSL I done seen version that's give you the real sound that sound like it. All of them are CPU heavy. I ain't seen one that's not CPU heavy. The only one that's close, that's not CPU heavy, but it don't have no color. There's no color added to me. The channel strip by DDMF, this don't got no color. So with the color, all of them got heavy CPU. But it kind of makes sense when you think about it, man. You inside of the computer and you trying to have that SSL in your house, man. That's the whole thing about it. So I think it should need power. This is a part of the point to me. So stay tuned, man. Next video, man. Part 3. We're going to go in and I'm going to talk about the real understanding of the setup of the signal chain and how I run it and why. Peace.